It's Thursday, February 29. In the headlines, local government elections update. The People's National Party wins the KSAMC. In business news, the Caribbean Development Bank forecasts an average growth rate for borrowing member countries. Regionally, Suriname, Guyana's Chamber of Commerce to boost trade. And in sports, KPMG's squash league begins. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. The People's National Party has tipped the scale in the tie with the Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, in the local government election results for the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, the KSAMC. With the preliminary Electoral Office of Jamaica results from the KSAMC, the results showed that it tied 2020 between the Jamaica Labour Party and the People's National Party after Monday's local government elections. However, on Wednesday, the EOJ confirmed that the party had won the crucial Kint Division in St. Andrew East Rural. Director of Elections Glaspel Brown says the PMPs winning the Kint Division has consolidated their position in the KSAMC because it won the popular vote. The PMP's Vivian Diane Brown Bond won the Kint Division after polling 1,319 votes to defeat the JLP's Kelvin Keith Clark, who polled 1,287 votes. Minister without portfolio with responsibility for works and Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Catherine, the JLP's Everald Warmington has apologized for statements he made earlier this week at a political gathering in Old Harbour, St. Catherine. In a statement to the press, he's quoted saying, "As the Minister without portfolio and Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Catherine, I acknowledge the public's concerns regarding my recent comments about resource allocation," end quote. He furthers, quote, "I realize that my statements on funding for members of parliament and councillors have been misunderstood in public discourse. It was never my intention to imply that a duly elected councillor should be denied rightful funding for municipal division," end quote. Meanwhile, the People's National Party's candidate for Trelawney Northern, Dennis Meadows, says he misspoke on the campaign trail when he gave his stamp of approval to lottery scamming. He's quoted saying, "Quite frankly, I misspoke, and I unreservedly, unequivocally, and absolutely withdraw that comment," end quote. Despite their apologies, the private sector organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, is calling for prompt action from the Office of the Political Ombudsman following what it describes as a recent unseemly behavior by members of the political directorate. The PSOJ says it is deeply concerned about recent videos circulating online. It says the Office of the Political Ombudsman must act decisively to maintain the integrity and respectability of political leadership in Jamaica. In its statement, the organization says, quote, "This demand for action underscores the importance of the Office of the Political Ombudsman, especially following its incorporation within the operational framework of the Electoral Commission of Jamaica." The PSOJ acknowledges the dual responsibilities of the ECJ in managing both the electoral process and the role of the political ombudsman, emphasizing the need for effectiveness in these critical functions, end quote. Medical research provides important information about disease trends and risk factors, outcomes of treatment or public health interventions, functional abilities, patterns of care, and healthcare costs and use. It is through research that we have access to treatment for cancer, HIV and AIDS, mental illnesses, painkillers, supplements, physiotherapy, and more. Attendants at the Ministry of Health and Wellness's latest National Health Research Conference were given a glimpse into the research being done locally. Dr. David McGowan, winner of Most Impactful Research and Presentation, and Mr. Amarley Wright, student of the University of the West Indies, shared their work and they were awarded.
Dr. McGowan says his research was based on a cross-sectional survey of antibiotic use at two urban hospitals, the Cornwall Regional Hospital and the UHWI.
And the issue really is that as you use antibiotics, the bugs you're using them to treat develop resistance and they're no longer effective. And that poses a challenge in that you need new antimicrobials, new antibiotics. And one of the things that we can do to improve the lifespan of our antibiotics and the efficacy is antimicrobial stewardship, which basically means responsible use of the antimicrobials.
The study attempted to provide local data on the matter.
So the study was done between July 2021 and January 2022, and at both institutions. What we did, simply we selected all the patients admitted on the survey days, and we went through the medical records to see if they were on antibiotics or not. And then we were also looking for some specific indicators of stewardship and anything that we could tweak to improve that. We're also looking at rough analysis of cost.
He shared some findings.
A little more than half of the population in both institutions were on antibiotics. And the most commonly used type of antibiotic was a cephalosporin. That's a class, a group of antibiotics that we found were the most commonly used.
Amarley Wright is a student from the Faculty of Medical Science at the UWI focused on biomedical research.
My research project is entitled Combined Supplementation of S-nitrosoglutathione and Glutathione Improves Glycemic Control in Type 2 Diabetic Rats.
He says in Jamaica, the prevalence of diabetes is 11.6% of the population and one of the three main causes of death.
We see that there is currently a clinical trial being done in India with glutathione. They also published a paper which highlighted that when they administered 500 milligrams of glutathione in diabetic patients, these were elderly patients, they saw a reduction in the HbA1c level. This is the measurement of the blood glucose level after 3 months. In Jamaica, we do not have such a clinical trial. However, from the results that I found from my study, it seems promising and something that we could look towards.
Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I'm Danita Rodney.
The Scientific Research Council, SRC, says it is committed to innovation and national development. But how will they be able to accomplish this? Danita Rodney explains.
Without innovation, the country cannot grow. That was the view of Divisional Manager of Marketing and Communication at the SRC, Mrs. Carolyn Rose Miller. Speaking at a recent JIS think tank, Rose Miller says the council is committed to the development of value-added products.
So the SRC commitment to innovation extends to leveraging locally available raw materials to develop value-added products, thus contributing to import substitution and fostering industrial development. By harnessing the potential indigenous resources, SRC not only reduces dependency on imports, but we also promote economic growth and sustainability by creating new opportunities to local industries.
She goes on to list some ways the SRC can develop economic diversity and empower communities to create value and sustainable growth.
This is done through a number of avenues, and one platform we use to support innovation is translating our research results to commercial activities. This is done through our training workshops in food and personal care, as well as tissue culture. As you would aware, tissue culture applications is very important towards contributing to the growth and development of the agricultural sector.
Mrs. Miller also encouraged the private sector to get involved and support new innovations.
We need private sector support to help to take these ideas, these innovation to commercial applications, so that we are moving them now from the shelf to providing solutions to our consumers.
Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I'm Danita Rodney.
Time now for the business report with Denise Williams.
Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, your guide through the latest happening in the world of business. Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, forecasts an average growth rate of 8.6% for its 19 borrowing member countries in 2024, largely attributable to increased oil production in Guyana and the continued expansion of the tourism industry. Excluding Guyana, this growth projection falls to 2.3%, a moderation from the estimated growth of 2.5% in 2023, which aligns with the broader trends of slowing, below-average global growth and the ongoing normalization of economic conditions in the Caribbean. However, the CDB also indicated that Haiti remained the exception to the current trend, owing to the continued instability and high inflation. The CDB Economics Director also projected that the positive trajectory for 18 of the bank's 19 clients is anticipated to continue in 2024. Although optimistic, the projections are susceptible to various risks, including sluggish global growth, persistent high inflation, challenges linked to climate change, and natural disasters, which can all undermine economic performance. Future Energy Source Company CEO Jeremy Barnes says the company will be spending just over $500 million for a new company-owned petroleum station to be known as FESCO Oval, which starts in May, that should be ready for commissioning in July 2025. This new multi-purpose facility will push the petroleum marketing company's network to 22 locations. The 1.2-acre property that will become the FESCO station's home lies in the middle of the Spanish Town Road industrial estate and along a 3-mile stretch that also features a rival Total Energies gas station. In addition to the usual petroleum products, the location will include a drive-through quick service restaurant, an LPG supply depot, and a convenience store. Additionally, there will be a fully lit 6-a-side football field and a fully equipped homework center with free Wi-Fi to be built as part of a program of social support for the nearby Waterhouse community. The location will also carry some of the company's administrative offices to accommodate the fast-growing staff. The Spanish Town Road location will join Beechwood Avenue as the second company-owned and run service station. The others are dealer-operated. An estimated $1.2 billion is to be expended in fiscal year 2024-25 to continue the Boosting Innovation, Growth and Entrepreneurship Ecosystems Big E project. The project, which is being implemented by the Development Bank of Jamaica, DBJ, is aimed at promoting sustainable and robust growth among startups and micro, small and medium-sized enterprises, MSMEs, in Jamaica. For fiscal year 2024-25, the project intends to launch call for open innovation projects, provide support for research and development projects, conduct digital skills bootcamp, and complete development of the Mentorship for Women program. Specifically, its objectives are to promote innovation and productivity among established MSMEs with high growth potential, to promote sustainable and disruptive growth in scalable startups, and to create sustainable pipeline of high growth startups and a strong supporting ecosystem for entrepreneurship. Jamaica contributed significantly to the global profits of the Player Hotel Group. Hotels operated locally by Player under the Hilton, Hyatt, and Jewel brands generated US $220 million in revenue during 2023, bettering the previous year by 22%. It comes alongside continuing recovery in the travel market and an overall 4% improvement in tourist visits to Jamaica, amounting to around 4 million people in 2023. While Jamaica's revenue growth outperformed all others, it's not the most lucrative market for Playa. It falls behind Dominican Republic, which grew 10% to US $253.7 million, as well as the Yucatan Peninsula, which improved by 9% to US $306.3 million, but outpaces Pacific Coast, which rose by 10% to US $141.6 million. The local hotels account for 1,428 of the 7,095 rooms operated by the group. In Jamaica, the occupancy level climbed to 79% in 2023 from 74% in 2022 and 48% in 2021. Playa's Jamaica portfolio comprises 5 properties: Hyatt Zilara Rose Hall, Hyatt Ziva Rose Hall, Hilton Rose Hall Resort and Spa, Jewel Grand Montego Bay Resort and Spa, and Jewel Paradise Cove Beach Resort and Spa. The fourth quarter capped off a record year for Playa, said the hotel management company's chairman and CEO, Bruce Wardinski, in its earnings report. During trading on February 28, 2024, the top 3 advancing stocks covered the technology, entertainment, and insurance sectors on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Productive Business Solutions, 10.5% shares, advanced 19.44% for $208.99 to close at $1,283.99 with 77 shares traded. Iron Rock Insurance Company Limited shares advanced 17.21% for a 37-cent increase to close at $2.52 with 2 shares traded. Main Event Group Limited shares advanced 13.93% for a 94-cent price increase to close at $7.69 with 1,384 shares traded. On the declining stocks that traders experienced on February 28, 2024, the top 3 losers covered the technology, finance, and energy sector on the stock exchange. 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited Variable Preference declined by 14.15% for a $30.71 decline to close at $186.29 with 53 shares traded. AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited declined by 11.89% for a 39-cent drop to close at $2.89 with 30,992 shares traded. Jamaica Stock Exchange Limited declined by 8.8% for an 89-cent decline to close at $9.13 with 53,086 shares traded. Trading activity on the first-tier market of the Trinidad and Tobago stock market for February 28, 2024 registered a volume of 75,523 shares crossing the floor of the exchange valued at TT $1,558,529.40. JMMB Group was the volume leader with 27,480 shares changing hands for a value of TT $38,567.20, followed by Massey Holdings Limited with a volume of 15,777 shares being traded for a TT $68,227.06. Moving from the money moves of investors and executives, we turn to the Forex market. On February 28, 2024, the Bank of Jamaica reported that US $30.1 million was bought from Forex traders, while US $17 million was sold to Forex traders. Buying directly from the Bank of Jamaica, foreign currency traders sold the US dollar for $157.05 and bought the US dollar for $155.12. The difference between the buy and sell rate was $1.93, which represents a profit for Forex traders for every US dollar traded. Canadian Forex traders earned a trading profit of $5.91 from transactions with the Bank of Jamaica. The Canadian dollar was sold for $118.56 and bought for $112.65. For traders looking at the British pound, they pocketed a profit of $5.77, selling it for $220 and buying it for $194.43. For your credit repair tip of the day, just like you check your report card to see how you're doing in school, grown-ups check their credit report to see how they're doing with money. Make sure everything on your money report is correct. If you see any mistakes, let someone know so they can fix them. And with that, we wrap up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams. Appreciate your company. Stay well informed, stay ahead of the curve. Until our next update, take care.
In regional news, a newly installed Suriname-Guyana Chamber of Commerce is expected to connect commerce and improve economic and investment relations. Sunil Lala has more.
At the recent launch of the Suriname-Guyana Chamber of Commerce, Guyana's Finance Minister Ashni Singh questioned why it took so long to formally bring both countries together for economic relations. He said while it may not have been recognized, trade between both countries have been taking place for decades, even just a short ferry ride away.
I believe everybody in Guyana would know, but certainly those of us who come from Berbice would know, that since time immemorial, the peoples of Guyana and Suriname have been crossing the Quarantine River back and forth.
The Chamber aims to foster strong partnerships to drive economic growth and enhance prosperity between Guyana and Suriname. Its CEO, Rahul Lildar, said they have seen great interest from companies both in Suriname and Guyana.
The Chamber today boasts a diverse membership base of over 60 approved membership applications. Today, we have 30 financial members made up of Guyanese, Surinamese, and a few Caribbean companies. Our collective impact is growing, and we have garnered interest from dozens of other companies. At the Guyana Energy Expo and Supply Chain Conference, we have engaged with dozens of businesses.
And Suriname's President Chantrika Prasad Santokhi said the Chamber will provide a platform to foster the relationship between countries and facilitate the ease of doing business, even with an extension of Brazil nearby.
That with the existing gas of the coastal area of Guyana and also in Suriname, we can develop both countries on the east side of Guyana and the west side of Suriname as the most industrial developed area in the region with close cooperation with Brazil.
The Chamber believes it is on the cusp of further expanding its reach and membership at the upcoming Energy Conference in Suriname from June 4th to the 7th. Sonolala, TTT News, Georgetown, Guyana.
The UK's Minister for the Americas, Caribbean and Overseas Territories, David Rutley, has announced that £190,000 will be made available to support Caribbean marine conservation efforts and improve livelihoods. He made the announcement while attending the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in Guyana last week. He says the funding is to help CARICOM countries manage their oceans sustainably. It will be used to create a unified action plan that will allow Caribbean countries to benefit economically from their ocean resources in an environmentally friendly manner. The new UK funding comes ahead of the UN's Small Islands Developing States Summit in May, where the international community will meet to discuss the impact of climate change on SIDS. In Antigua and Barbuda, business leaders from the Caribbean and beyond dropped anchor in St. John's Wednesday as they pursue various areas of collaboration. They gathered at the Multipurpose Cultural Center as part of Caribbean Business Cruise 4, a nautical networking venture. Jamie J. Roche reports.
Sun, Sea and Synergy and taking Barbuda rise the wave of economic promise as around 24 entrepreneurs from Guadeloupe, St. Martin and as far as Burkina Faso docked for a significant chamber business roundtable.
Networking is always good. Building relationship is always good because then you're able to expand your business.
The Antigua and Barbuda Chamber of Commerce, in partnership with Astanana Consulting, has organized Wednesday's event, charting a course for shared prosperity. The business cruises, which began pre-COVID and were halted during the pandemic, restarted last year. A translator is on hand since the participants are mostly French.
Développer ou reprendre des relations commerciales, des relations d'affaires et aussi des relations humaines.
So we're here to restart some sort of collaboration amongst the peoples of the different countries.
Executive Director of Antigua and Barbuda Investment Authority, Garfield Joseph, spotlights Antigua and Barbuda as a beacon for business with compelling incentives. Joseph navigates the group through sectors ripe for investment, from tourism to agriculture, each a fertile ground for growth.
We've spoken about tourism, we spoke about sea transport, we've spoken about airline connectivity, and then final two areas. One is agriculture. You have very good soil and good cultivation in Guadeloupe. We do import quite a lot already from Dominica, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent. Why not Guadeloupe?
Meanwhile, Operations Manager at Antigua Cruise Port Royal Reynolds steers the conversation towards a thriving cruise industry. He says the country is expecting just under 1 million cruise passengers this year.
Because of the robust growth of the cruise sector, we could partner with Guadeloupe to provide more like tour operations, tour operators like travel agent that could resell some of our home porting business we have here.
The ACP's officer in charge, Cynthia Jacob Brown, says an upcoming development, which is set to start April, promises even more space for commerce and leisure, inviting global partners to anchor their brands here. The CBC4 delegation include people from a vast number of industries and sectors, including manufacturing, tourism, construction, hospitality, fisheries, events planning, and the digital industry. The diversity mirrors Antigua and Barbuda's own vision for a multifaceted economy.
We're all about trade, so this is one of our pillars at the Chamber.
And with the right blend of strategy, innovation, and Caribbean charm, the possibilities are as vast as the horizon. These business leaders leave not only with a taste of Antiguan hospitality, but with the seeds of partnership that could bloom into a flourishing future for all involved. Jamie J. ABS News.
In sports, we begin on the court. The Jamaica Squash Association, JSA, and KPMG has launched a league which will feature 16 teams this year. The launch was held recently at the association's home base at the Ligani Club in New Kingston. President of the JSA, Karen Anderson, says they expect exciting matches.
We have the defending champions who've come back basically unchanged, but we see some really strong teams that have registered for the event, and I think we will see an upset or two, and so we're extremely excited to see how the matches will play out over the 2 months of the event.
The league will run on a handicap system which is used to level the playing field so that everybody will have a chance to play and do well. The teams will play round-robin matches in the first round of 4 teams per group. The top 2 teams will go to the quarterfinal, where all matches going forward will be played on a knockout basis. The other 2 teams in the group will play in a plate final or final for the losing teams. Country managing partner of title sponsor KPMG, Rajan Trayan, credited the league for its continued high contribution to developing young players in the game of squash.
So KPMG has been sponsoring this league this is the 24th year that they've been sponsoring. So, there is a long history that we've been engaged in this league. And over the period, it has developed into a very, very strong league. I mean, as you heard from Karen, that it's one of the major events on JSA calendar. And we are proud, because we believe in the development of youth as well as sports, and we've adopted squash as one of the sports to make sure that, we contribute to the development of squash in particular.
The league will serve off on Thursday evening at the Ligani Club, where it is scheduled to end on April 19 at the same venue. And that's it for the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Remember, we are the People's Station.